How's it going, everybody? It's Riley's Redzone here, back with another weekly NFL game picks video. Last week, I tried something where I did a really short video just with text on the screen and just to see how it went. And I think I'm going to leave that as an option if, let's say, there's a week I'm unable to get this recording out. It's a great way for me to still quickly get out the picks, and it's quick for the viewer. But this week, I want to get back to discussing all the games in a segment here. And last week I actually did very well. I went 12-4. I think I actually ended up starting, I think it was like 10-2, 11-2, and then ended up getting like the Sunday night game wrong was hurting, but otherwise it was a pretty good week. And so that puts us at 16-24 on the season. So I'd say that's pretty good so far. We're definitely hitting over half the games, obviously there, but I think we're doing really, really well right now. We've been on a hot streak the past few weeks. I did pick the Bucks over the Eagles. You can go to my Twitter at Riley Redzone if you want to see the Thursday night picks every week. I said basically I'm picking the Bucks, although it had upset potential. It ended up pretty close actually. I'd say compared to how the game actually went, but I said that the Bucks have more momentum. That proved to be the case. They ended up getting the win over the Eagles. Eagles just need to run the ball. I mean, Miles Sanders is very efficient, and they are just not giving him the ball. And Jalen Hurts has been up and down. So let's talk about the games to be. We've got the game that for me is starting in like an hour. The Dolphins and the Jaguars over in London. I think it's going to be close. This could be a potential first win for the Jaguars. I'm going to say that if there is one that they could win, this is probably the most likely game yet. Tua is coming back for the Dolphins. You could view that as a good or bad thing. I think the Dolphins have looked okay with Jacoby Brissett. At least other players have. But I feel like Tua is a better quarterback. At least you can't start Brissett over him. And here's basically where I'm coming from. I would not be surprised if the Jaguars win this game, and I almost want to pick them. They're favored to lose by 3. But the thing is here is I feel like the Jaguars are going to be one of those teams where every like 2 weeks I'm going to get the feeling that they're finally going to get a win. And the truth is they're only going to win like a few games the rest of the season. And so the payoff for it, it's not very safe for me to go with the Jaguars, let's say week after week, and then they never quite pull it off. That's just giving me losses. So to be safe here, I'm gonna play the Dolphins. I'm gonna pick them, even though I do think there's a solid chance the Jaguars win this game. But for the safeness of the record, I'm gonna go with the Dolphins. The Packers and the Bears. Packers favored by 5.5. I'm gonna go with the Packers there. Justin Fields has looked okay, pretty well for a rookie, I would say, but I think the Packers have too much. It's a rivalry game. Rodgers is still on fire. I think he's been underrated this season. Yeah, he had a bad first game, but he's bouncing back, and so I like the Packers in that one for sure. The Bengals and Lions. I thought the Lions are going to pull off something, not last week, but maybe against the Bears. They were close against the Vikings last week, very, very close. So that was a bit of a potential shocker. Almost happened, but I do agree with what Dan Campbell was saying is like they're gonna win one of these games. It feels like every game they've lost by about one possession. So eventually you have to get on the right side of that turn. But I think the Bengals get a win here. They're probably upset about the loss last week. It was close and they couldn't pull it off. I like Joe Burrow. I'm going with the Bengals here. They're favored by 3.5. I'll take that. Um, I think that they will win there. The Colts and the Texans. Um, the Colts are favored by 10. Now, I think that is actually a bit much. It isn't in a way because the Texans are not good, but I don't think the Colts are a good enough team to be favored by 10, even with, Davis Mills at quarterback, who I've already mentioned multiple times. I was not a fan of his in the draft at all. I had him way below, like I thought he was maybe going to go at the end. He's actually looked okay. Like he's been a solid, fine backup quarterback, and I think that's what his whole career is going to be. So he's been fine filling in for Tyrod. So I actually think that the Texans are figuratively going to lose this game by less than 10, but I do think the Colts get a win. Potential Ty return here, but we'll see what happens. I think I'm gonna go with the Colts there. Rams are favored by 9 over the Giants. Giants are just too banged up. I liked their team a lot heading into this season. I think they had an underrated defense. They brought in what they needed to. They were getting Saquon back, but now Saquon's hurt. Galladay's been banged up. Even Daniel Jones has been a little banged up. It's just injuries have cost this team. I really thought that this was going to be a dark horse NFC East champion team, potentially, because I just like their team structure, but this season as a sleeper, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going with the Rams here. Stafford's been on fire in that offense. I'll keep it going with them. The Chiefs and the Washington football team. The Chiefs have to be one of the biggest disappointments so far this season. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has not been playing up to his normal level, but I think that they get this game. They win. It feels like Mahomes is normally pretty good after bounce back games. Washington has not been great this year. I think their defense has not been what it was potentially projected to be. They still need I mean, Heineke's been fine, actually. I think that getting Fitzpatrick back will still be an upgrade, but Heineke's been fine for this team. It's really been other positions, and hopefully Antonio Gibson's good to go for them. He's been playing through something. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs here. Although I do think this will be a very close game. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes down to a field goal, honestly. I think this game could be very close. Now, the toughest game this entire week, Vikings Panthers. I'm starting to change my mind already on this one. The Vikings have been rolling. Now, they have not won outside of games at home yet, though. And the Panthers lost last week to the Eagles. I was very surprised by that. And this whole week I've been thinking the Vikings because they're getting momentum. They're going. I feel good in their chances. I want to take a few upsets this week. I know I'm taking a few upsets this week. I currently know I'm taking 3. Am I switching my pick here is the question. The Vikings are favored by 2.5. I think I'm going to... I'm last second changing this maybe. Yeah, I'm going to change it. I've been going Vikings all week, minus 2.5, but I think I'm going to go with the Panthers here. They're currently underdogs, and that's why I'm taking them. Honestly, I was going to take the underdog in this matchup because I feel like somebody's going to have more motivation. And the Panthers, I think, just coming off a loss is more dangerous than what I thought it was going to be. So I'm going to go with the Panthers here. And then my back-to-back upsets here, like back-to-back upsets, to keep it going, I'm going to take the Chargers over the Ravens. I like the Ravens team a lot. I think they bounced back. I also love the way Justin Herbert's playing. I think Justin Herbert has been a potential MVP candidate so far this season. And honestly, the only reason I'm picking this, potentially, I feel like the Chargers perform well in these, like, mid or early game sections, and the Ravens perform really well in primetime. If this is a primetime game, I'm going with the Ravens. I'm going with the Chargers, though, in this one. I think this one comes down to the wire, though. Currently, it's 2.5 favored by Ravens. That seems about right to me. I think this comes down to the wire, maybe a field goal. Now, the Cardinals are the only undefeated team left, but they are dealing with a coach currently out, a GM, a few players potentially, kind of struggling there. Chase Edmonds was ruled in today, which helps them out a bit. I love this Cardinals team. I didn't get to them, ranking the teams, but I had them number 6 to start the season. If I would have gotten it all the way out all the time, gotten them all out in time, I think that would have been one of my favorite takes so far. Is I felt really, really good about the Cardinals. I thought this was going to happen last year. I thought Kyler Murray was going to put up an MVP level season last year. It's happening this year. But with all that being said, I think the undefeated train eventually has to come to a halt. And honestly, the Browns are a good enough team without Nick Chubb, with Kareem Hunt, to still have success offensively. Their defense can be crazy good with Myles Garrett. And Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is an absolute stud for them right now on defense. I'm going with the Browns here. I think the lack of coaching. I think the Cardinals will be fine. They'll put up a solid game. It's not like they're going to struggle, but I think it comes down to the Browns. Being able now with just Kareem Hunt to be put a lot more in the receiving game with their backs. So I'm going to go with the Browns here. Technically not an upset because they are favored by 3.5. So um, the Raiders and the Broncos. The Raiders, I guess this is like my first video since everything happened. That is unfortunate news that it turns out John Gruden was doing using very bad language in many emails, and I think it was a right move to resign because there is not room for that type of behavior in the National Football League for the image they are trying to, really encourage. So that is what happened this week. If you have not somehow seen, but you probably have because it was a huge piece of news this week for the entire NFL world. And I am going to go with the Raiders here. And now, here's the reasons why. You might think when you lose a coach, especially in the way they did, because you find out what was actually going on with your coach. I couldn't imagine being in that locker room. But I think often we see teams rally behind interim head coaches for a game or two. My big example is last year. Romeo Crennel came in for Bill O'Brien, and I think it was the first week, or maybe it's the second. It was either I forget for sure, but it was either they won or they only lost by like 3. It was like the best game they played all season, and it was their first game with an interim head coach. Sometimes they rally behind the guys, so I'm gonna go with the Raiders here. They're favored to lose by 4. I like the way the Broncos have been playing, but I'm gonna go with the Raiders here. I think they rally behind, and Derek Carr will have some motivation. The Cowboys Patriots, I'm going with the Cowboys here, favored by 3.5. I think their offense is just too much, and the Patriots haven't been good enough. The Mac's been playing fine, but just haven't been good enough to really, really perform well. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys minus 3.5 there. But the Sunday night game, I'm going with Geno. I'm going with an upset. I picked the Steelers in an upset last week to beat the Broncos. I hit on that. I'm feeling good about the Seahawks Sunday night against the Steelers here. Seahawks couldn't pull off the win last week with Geno at the end. I think the Steelers losing Juju is a bit of a loss. Ben has just not been it this year. I think the Seahawks pull off an upset here is my prediction on Sunday night. +5, they at least lose by, they either lose by a field goal or they win this one. That's what my prediction is. And to close out Monday night, Bills, I think, win over the Titans. The Bills were my Super Bowl pick for this season. I'm feeling pretty good about that right now. They're looking really, really good. So thank you so much for watching this week's edition of the picks. We will see how I do this week. And comment down below what your picks are if you have any disagreements or agreements on who I chose. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.